similar item.
In this case, this is an action item, and we have...
Thank you. Yeah, we're going to wait for Trustee Barrick to come back in, but I can get started on, opening, well...
Right, I was just going to introduce
okay.
our trustee staff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Capellas and Ms. Greeley. This is an action item, and we do have all the parties represented, so welcome everyone.
Great, thank you very much. This is a determination hearing of the Portola Valley Charter School petition on appeal from the Livermore Unified School District. And just wanted to comment before I hand it over to Ms. Greeley, who's going to present the report to you this evening, that this petition review process was compiled of many staff people at our county office that has expertise in many different areas, including the educational, human resources, governance, and also our finance. So with that, I'd like to hand the mic over to Ms. Greeley.
Thank you, President Serrato. The petition to create the Portola Academy Charter School was submitted for your consideration on October 19th, 2012, having been denied by the Board of Education for the Livermore Valley Joint Unified School District on October 16th. Public hearing on the petition was held November 13th. Our review was conducted with 8 members of the ACOE staff, covering a broad range of expertise. They reviewed the petition, and we met at the end of November to come to consensus on the merits of the petition relative to the established quality standards that are in the ACOE's Charter School Petition Review Checklist, which is included in your materials. To check our understanding of the petition, I visited the proposed site and briefly observed the 2 existing charter schools that are operated by the petitioner's Tri-Valley Learning Corporation. And some additional clarifying information was also requested and received from both the petitioners and from the Livermore District. As you are aware, these petitioners, Tri-Valley Learning Corporation, submitted a petition for a charter school of the same name and at the same location in 2011. That petition was denied by the district, by this board, and by the State Board of Education. The educational program in the petition before you now has been substantially rewritten. There is a table included in your material summarizing the concerns that were raised during the review of that earlier petition, with comments on the changes that have been made and reflected in this new version. As indicated in the evaluation summary and checklist, the petition met the standard with respect to the majority of the required charter petition elements, but some significant areas were found to be insufficient. Some of these deficiencies noted could be remedied by withdrawing and resubmitting a petition or through conditions on the charter should you decide to approve this petition. A list of some of the key charter conditions is included at page 6 of the evaluation summary. Some of the deficiencies, however, may be more difficult to rectify. 2 of particular concern. First, the description of plans to achieve racial and ethnic balance comparable for the district, and second, the likelihood of successful implementation in the context of other ventures being undertaken by the petitioners Tri-Valley. As discussed in our review, the petition does not contain a specific plan for outreach to the population of underserved students that are the proposed school's target population. The petitioner's 2 existing schools do not serve populations representative of the Livermore district overall. A summary of the school's demographics, the available data from 11-12 was provided in your packet as well. Nor do many of the students listed as interested in attending the new school in the Proposition 39 facilities request come from the targeted neighborhood. The petitioners have not presented a reasonably comprehensive description of their plan for achieving a more representative student body, and based on experience to date are demonstrably unlikely to successfully achieve this goal. Another major area of concern is the absence of a clear comprehensive plan for successfully opening the proposed school in the fall of 2013, given the other major initiatives that Tri-Valley Learning Corporation is currently pursuing. The petition for Portola Academy lacks an overall implementation plan, a full staffing plan, a startup budget, a professional development calendar, and a full description of the curriculum. This work, the finding of our staff review was that this work will challenge the capacity of an expanding organization. Tri-Valley has charter petitions pending before the New Jerusalem School District in San Joaquin County for 2 new schools, also to open in the fall of 2013, and will be completing construction and moving into new sites for both of its existing charter schools in Livermore during this same time period. Additional information on these particular issues was provided to our office today by the petitioners, including more recent student demographic information. They may wish to present that to you today. Should the board decide to approve the charter petition after consideration of all aspects of the charter proposal, it is recommended that you only approve under certain terms and conditions that will address the deficiencies in the petition document. The conditions should also include, of course, that a memorandum of understanding is to be signed by all parties, which will include specific conditions, timelines, and pre-opening requirements. If the petitioners fail to meet any of the conditions set forth in the MOU, the charter petition shall be deemed not granted by the county board on the grounds that the implementation of all of the conditional requirements in full are necessary for successful implementation and operation of the school. I'm happy to take any questions you have about the detailed findings, the collective work of the members of the ACOE staff.
Thank you very much. I'm going to try to give Ms. Knowles a chance, Trustee McWilson. No? Okay, Trustee McWilson.
Ms. Greeley, thank you for your work. So it is the opinion of staff that with the charter petitions that they have in front of the other school districts and the movement to new facilities in Livermore, that they will not be prepared or able to meet their obligation.
The conclusion of the staff reviewers was that between the gaps in the content in the petition and the other items, that yes, there was evidence that they would be demonstrable evidence that they are unlikely to successfully implement. Yes.
And last question, when you look at how they're missing the mark with regard to diversity and serving students currently, is there any evidence that staff found that that trend would change?
The evidence from that was provided to us today from the 12-13 enrollment for the Tri-Valley schools does show that their K-8 school has had a slight shift in their demographics, more Latino students. The school grew between the 11-12 and the 12-13 school year, and there was a slight shift. It's still not at numbers comparable to the Livermore district as a whole.
Thank you.
Trustee McDonald.
Thank you very much, President Serrato. At our last meeting, Susan Kinder, who works for the school district, gave us a detailed list of informational items on some fiscal concerns that we had, and I didn't really see anything that addressed that.
There are district representatives that are here today. The specific items on concerns with the financial plan for the new school are included in the checklist, and they relate to some inconsistencies between revenues across the different schedules, some overstatements in some places, some understatements in other places. Basically, the finding of our staff was that there seemed to be sort of a lack of quality control in the documentation, which again sort of fed into our concerns about the likelihood of successful implementation.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That answers my question.
And you
Trustee Rivera.
And you did mention the concern about the late payments to the Livermore Unified and the possibility that shows problems with cash flow. I think that's also included in the document, maybe in this statement of fact. Because I think that is if we decide to deny this charter, I think it is very important to be very specific about those things, because from the prior experience, it seems like the state board, took a lot of liberties of going beyond what was presented to them in the document, and tried to talk about the successes of the current schools. So I think it's important to, if we deny, to document those things in our documents very clearly. And I had some questions for the charter. I don't know when that will come.
Oh,
I just have some follow-up questions for the charter.
yeah, you can just have them come up.
Yeah, maybe somebody from the charter can come because I have a few questions. I guess the first question is, last time you mentioned that you were going to provide transportation. Was that in the budget, and where in the budget was that cost included? Because I could not find it. Was it embedded in the transportation cost that you said you were going to offer? Was that in the budget, including the budget that you provided?
It would be in our general services portion of our budget. So the answer to that is specifically no. Right now, we don't have an enrolled population, so we don't know the need for busing. What I did identify is that we do have a bus to serve our students, and if there's a need, our bus is available to our students. At this point, though, without an enrolled population, our assumption is, because of the geographic location of the site, many of the students, particularly in the targeted subgroups that we're looking at, will be in walking distance to the site. But we do have
okay.
buses available to at a corporate level, and our budget is a very conservative budget. So what I'll say is, that budget that's presented that you're looking at excludes. Sorry about that.
That budget that you're looking at excludes the assumption of Prop 30 passing. So you can actually add, based on our current projected enrollment, about $370 per student, which is, we're looking at about $250,000 per year of additional revenue at the current ADA levels. And that is just one area that is conservative in that fiscal plan. So there'll be adequate revenue to add a full busing schedule if it was necessary for our student population. However, as of right now, we haven't deemed that there is going to be necessity for busing. We simply offer it as an option should our student population deem it necessary.
Well, maybe I misunderstood, but that's not what I heard you say last time. I mean, last time you did indicate that you would provide busing to increase the diversity that was reflective of the Livermore community. Maybe I misheard you, but I don't think so. The second thing that I may have, well, I don't think I misheard it. Last time I specifically asked, is the dual immersion program going to be implemented? And I got yes. I said, oh, good. You know, it's an improvement over the last plan. So, and as I mentioned last time, I had not read the proposal, the charter submission. So, when I preparing for this meeting, I was reading, and the language in this is exactly what you provided the last time, that says the dual immersion may be implemented because the Portola Academy has had. You need time to analyze if there is adequate parent demand for the program. So the question, I guess the answer should have been, no, we are not committed to do it, because otherwise that's what the document will have said. And then I guess the question is, you come to us and you say that this charter is because the community wants it, the community needs it, and you want to serve the needs of the community. If that is the case, how come you don't know at this point if the community wants a dual immersion program or not? I mean, you haven't looked into that, or?
Well, that is a very multifaceted question.
I think it's a very simple question. But
I think you're a very complicated person, and that's a compliment.
It is a compliment. I'm very complicated and proud of it.
So in regards to your question, yes, we will have a dual immersion. And honestly, I don't remember the verbiage that talked about parent input in the second petition. But if it was included, that was simply because parents are part of the decision-making in terms of what kind of dual immersion program that we have specifically, whether it's a program within the school or school-wide. We're definitely having a dual immersion program. There is community interest in that, but we don't make those decisions at the end of the day. The community does. And our ELD program was completely rewritten to be very concise and very descriptive. We described 3 kinds of programs, and one of them is dual immersion at our school.
Any more questions? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. You may go sit down. At this time, we are ready to deliberate.
Is there people who want to speak?
Oh, speakers. All right, that's right. It is time for public comments. The following people can line up behind the podium, and each person will be allowed 1 minute to speak. Kelly Scribner, Chrissy Schwen, James Mink. Oh, sorry. I was trying to be organized, and it still didn't work. Dwayne Joyner. I was trying to progress further, I guess. Dwayne Joyner, Hugo Guerrero, Denise Denek. And we'll start with those three.
Hi, my name is Dwayne Joyner, and I am a substitute teacher at the current LVCP high school, the charter high school. I think you should probably consider this school because it's, you know, the students that I teach and I also coach at the high school, they've benefited from a small school. I think the school has good choices involved in its programs. The kids that I see there, and the parents, I'm also a parent, and I would send my parents, my kids to this school too. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I think it's about choices and making choices in the school system, and having a choice between a large public school and a small public school is a big choice. And I've seen personally and firsthand that these children have benefited from being at a smaller school versus a bigger school. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Hugo Guerrero. I'm a father of 5 boys, 2 currently attending the Livermore Preparatory High School, and the other 5 children are at the existing LVCS. I personally think that the location of the future Portola Academy will serve the Hispanic community very well, because that is the area where the Hispanic population is greater versus to where the LVCS site is now. And the fact that a lot of our Hispanic community does not have proper transportation, they're within walking distance, they will see us as one potential school to serve them better. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Denise Danek. I am a parent of 2 boys who currently attend the Livermore Valley Charter School. I am a parent who also really wanted and desired the choice for my children to be able to attend the charter school. I'm very pleased with their performance this academic year. Just the stress from actually looking for a school. My neighborhood school was not meeting my needs as a parent in terms of what my children were exposed to. I didn't have my children in the public school for the last 2 years. I had them at another charter school, and the best move I made was actually sending my children over to LVCS. So we actually commute half an hour to attend LVCS in Livermore. I live here in Hayward.
Enrollment in Portola is going to be voluntary. Parents choose to have their students enrolled here. Nothing mandatory about it, which is not forced enrollment. Schools are closing.
We need the timer, please.
Schools are closing, classes become larger. That means some students will not get the instruction clarification they need. The infrastructure of our education system is being impacted. The number of schools to accommodate the number of students strategically placed. The beauty of charter schools was so eloquently expressed by your administrator here earlier. You can make a choice on the spot and not suffer any repercussions. That's it. What you decide, that's it. Ain't gonna be no more discussion. You should want to relish that privilege. My child is not property of the state. She's not property of the county, and she's not property of a local school district. I should have the choice to choose where I send my child. Thank you.
Thank you for welcoming the Livermore School District back into your chambers here. We have been here before, and we would like to just share with you that we have made progress with this particular corporation with regard to their existing charter school, and we've actually moved toward an authorization. And so we're here to talk tonight about Portola, but I just want to share with you that our board is very discerning. They evaluate very carefully, and as does our staff, each petition on its merit. And we also do allow for folks in our community to weigh in, and we still would ask that you support the findings of our school board and the staff's recommendation from your own staff, and find that this particular petition does not have a calling from our community, and it is not demonstrably able to meet the needs as it's set forth. So we'd ask that you'd respect our board and our district and our 12,000 families, and uphold that decision from our board.
Superintendent, could you please tell everyone who you are?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Kelly Bowers. I am the superintendent for the Livermore School District.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Chris Van Schack, Assistant Superintendent. Mrs. Bowers, Mr. Batchelor, and myself spent a great deal of time creating an MOU for the Livermore Valley Charter School. Recently, 58 pages. Our board had some concerns, but they decided to go ahead and approve the proposal, again, with this MOU. So this is not about an antagonistic relationship between the charter school folks and ourselves. This is just about us reflecting about the petition before us and recognizing that unlike the school that exists, that has had success in our community, has the support of our community, and has always had the support of our community, this is a school that was not raised from community support. This is a business decision and not an educational decision, and we ask once again that you vote to deny. Thank you.
Thank you. Ann White and Bill Batchelor.
Push this down so I can see. President Serrato and board members, the study of the budget of an enterprise should reveal the real focus of it. Where do they put their money where their mouth is? In considering this proposal, what really came home to me was the lack of provision to provide teachers experienced in meeting the needs of the proposed student body, Hispanic youngsters. In Livermore, we know that experienced teachers who are very effective in teaching a predominantly white population are not immediately effective with predominantly Hispanic students. After focused professional development, these teachers do become effective and their students achieve. But there are no funds for professional development in the Portola budget. Further, the teachers TVLC proposes to hire at the salaries in the budget will certainly be novices at their profession. The proposed scheme of on-the-job training with no funding is an experiment with little hope of success. Those who are asking that you authorize this petition are asking you to ignore or overlook the shortcomings that I've mentioned. In Livermore, we decided not to ignore the shortcomings and voted to deny. The Portola Academy petition should be denied. Thank you.
Thank
you. Good evening. I'm Bill Batchelor. I am now Chief Executive Officer of Tri-Valley Learning Corporation. First thing I want to say that there is $1,000 per teacher budgeted in this petition for professional development for our staff. So I would also like to say that we do not view this venture as an experiment. This is a continuation of two very successful programs that will serve the population that we're designing it to meet. We will staff successful, innovative staff members that are geared and professionally developed to serve these students. The most important and final comment is that we are very willing to work with you to reach an agreeable term on an MOU. There's nothing that's been proposed by your staff that we wouldn't be in agreement to meet, we'd be happy to go with, we'd prefer not to have a long-standing conditional approval, but we'd be happy to take a conditional approval to meet the conditions in an MOU. There's nothing that's been proposed that we wouldn't work with. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, that was all the speaker cards. No? Oh, you put one in? Oh, maybe they got mixed up. Sorry. Let me look. Could you, what's your name? Ah, yep, they did get mixed up. I apologize. Is it Doug Treadway and Willow Harrington? And maybe I got... And Nancy Katz. And who else? Did I miss anybody? Okay. All right. You may begin. You have a minute.
Okay, I'm Doug Treadway. I'm speaking in support of Portola. I have a 6th grader grandson who's an applicant. We're a mixed race family. I know many of the families that are applicants. Look at the stack and you'll see the demographics of the 400 families are representative. You don't have to do a survey. Just look at the applications, the people, the families, the demographics.
Thank you.
Also, I have to tell you the 4 turndowns so far have been devastating to the families and the community, and the parents, the kids. And I hope this isn't going to reoccur because it's not valid. I just retired as president of Maloney Community College District. I've worked for social equity. I've worked for Paths for Progress all my career. I know these people. I know these teachers. I work with faculty development there. I know this is a class act. It has risen the lives of many people, bring many more up. It would be a travesty for this not to be one of the more than 1,000 charter schools. Keep this in your Alameda County education family. Let us work with some of these differences. But let's don't use spurious data to characterize this school. It is the community school. That's why we're here. And I'm here as a member of the community to make sure you understand that clearly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Willow Harrington, and I'm the Managing Director for School Development for the California Charter Schools Association. I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of the Tri-Valley School. We support lots of different types of growth initiatives across California, but we recognize that some of the strongest schools come out of organizations that have a strong track record and have the capacity and the leadership to continue on that growth. And Tri-Valley and Portola are examples of this. Some of the examples of why this is a quality school, they are currently supporting over 1,100 students within their 2 programs. They've had excellent growth with their API and continue to have very strong scores. In addition, they have a unique curriculum opportunities where there's a blend between project-based learning and traditional curriculum. And there continues to be an interest to expand these programs to serve a more diverse and a greater population. So it's for these reasons that CCSA is supporting the growth of the Tri-Valley family. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nancy Katz, and I'm currently teaching art at Livermore Valley Charter Prep High School. I was hired as a first faculty member to teach art at Portola Academy. I have extensive experience teaching art as a teaching artist in New York City, learning through Art Guggenheim Museum, where I worked with diverse population, extensively with Hispanic population, also Chinese students, and also worked in San Diego at the San Diego School of Creative and Performing Arts. What makes Portola Academy so special for me is that it's a school that deems in its mission to integrate the arts throughout the school in all the curriculum. And as an artist and a fervent educator in the arts, I know that that makes a difference. And it's something that's missing in so many schools, and parents who see it really feel that it's so important, and the children say that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I still have 2 cards. Katie Sorrell? Kate Sorrell. Is that right?
That's right.
I've never seen Kate with a C. That's very original. I like that. It looked like C-U-T.
Well, I was writing kind of quickly, but I am, in fact,
sorry.
Kate Sorrell, and I'm a teacher at Livermore High. And I'm just here to remind you that the data that I supplied you with at our first meeting on this subject was not spurious. It came from the California Department of Education from DataQuest. And so it's available to any person who wants to go there, www.cde.ca.gov. And in fact, the information that I provided to you is accurate. Although the majority of students at the charter schools that currently exist are in fact doing well, they are predominantly students who are of the Caucasian persuasion. Their special ed, English learners, and Hispanic students are not achieving at proficient or advanced levels, except for a small group that are in 5th and 6th grades. So I just wanted to reiterate the information that I gave before, that the data is sound, not flawed. Thank you.
Thank you. And Valerie Tomei?
Hi, my name is Valerie Tomei. I have 2 students now at Junction Avenue School. I think last time I saw you only had 1. I also was not happy with my neighborhood school because we have plenty of money and I'm white and I didn't want my kid to only go to school with all white kids with plenty of money. So I drive all the way across town to go to Junction. It's an amazing school. I think one thing we can notice again here tonight is where are all these families that want the new school? We have the same families from the current school saying, we love it, it's great. Where are all the families that want the new school? They added 200 kids. If there's all these underrepresented families that want this school, they could have thrown out the lottery and brought those kids in. The reason they don't know if they need a DI program or not is because our community doesn't want this new school. We have an amazing school right now. I'd also like to remind you with the API of similar schools, this isn't a joke. Some kids are very hard to teach. We get a 9. Junction Avenue scores a 9. We're doing a fantastic job. They were at a 6. I'd like to see them do what that other charter school was doing. Take all those kids that don't have enough money and don't have enough food and try to teach them. We're doing an awesome job. Please deny this.
Thank you. Okay, I've got one more, and I think we need to shut this down because I don't want any more cards just trickling in. So this is the last person, Mariah Mills.
I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to prepare, but I just wanted to quickly say that I fully support Portola Academy for opening up. I've worked in charter schools for the last 6 years, and I attended our charter school for my middle school. And I just understand that charter schools are that option that many kids need that just are not cut out for the public school system as I was. I found that my local public school wasn't serving my needs. My parents filled out an inter-district transfer, and it saved my education. So I know that we'll be offering really diverse programs at the new charter school. We will be offering art, service learning, project-based learning, and it's a very successful program with a very interested community. I did go to the hearing in Sacramento, and there were many families there that were supporting Portola Academy. So I know we do have large community interest. They're just not represented here in Hayward, but they were up in Sacramento supporting the hearing there. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, it's time for the board to deliberate and come to a decision.
Madam Chair, could I just make a clarification? It's been mentioned a few times, public schools versus charters. I want to remind everybody that we wouldn't be dealing with charters if they were not public schools. So we're talking about public dollars and how they are spent and how they are being spent for our children and families in our communities. So it's public schools, charters, and district schools. Thank you.
Thank you, yeah. I noticed that needed to be addressed. I'm glad you did that. Thank you. Mr. Rivera?
No, as a matter of courtesy, I just wanted to recognize, I think there are 3 trustees from Livermore 4. If you could just, maybe Kelly, you could introduce them quickly. I know Ann, but I know Bill, but.
So we have our board president. He was just reelected last night. For president, he's been on the board for a while, Dr. Bill Dunlop. We also have our board clerk, Trustee Ann White. We have Kate Runyon, trustee, and Charles Chuck Rogie, trustee.
Okay, welcome.
I see him back there. Okay, thank you very much. That's important. All right. Trustee Rivera, start us off.
Well, just to our staff, in the past we had like sample motions. I could not find the 2 sample motions here. Oh, is there here? Where was it? Oh, okay. Well, okay. Thank you. I may have. I'll just make a motion, and maybe we can start discussion. On that motion. I will move that the Alameda County denies the Portola Academy Charter School petition appeals and request the superintendent to prepare the written factual findings pursuant to Ed Code Section 47605.6b.
Do I have
Second.
It's a tie. Mr. McWilson, I don't know.
Okay.
Who did you find?
Either one. Just the
Just put MC.
MC.
MC. Trustee MCs.
Yeah. Okay. Well, can I?
All the.
Can
yeah,
I just get
now we're
started?
gonna deliberate. Yep.
Well, I just have. I think that our staff and Livermore staff did a very good job of pointing out all the deficiencies in this petition. In addition, I do have a lot of concerns. One concern that has been raised is the issue about the community support and need for this school. The truth is we got a few emails supporting the school. We were given a binder by the petitioners last time. As I went through the binder, most of these letters were for the petition for the other school in July and the prior one, not current ones. The petitioners actually took 2 buses full of people to Sacramento. They could have done that the same here today. I mean, if the parents were really interested because they felt that this was in the best interest of the education of their kids, they would have been here tonight. The fact that we have had other charters here that come, and there have been a lot of work with the parents. They know the programs that the parents want because the parents really want the school. And the fact that, we'll do a dual immersion if there is interest, we'll open the school, let's see who comes. And it just is not, for me, a strong enough indication that there is, in fact, support for this school. I'm also concerned. I do not see in this school anything that is new and different that the Livermore schools are not offering the students in Livermore. I always go back and look at all of the, what the Charter Schools Act says, and one is provide parents and pupils with expanded choices in the types of educational opportunities that are available within the public school system. I do not see any expanded educational opportunities in this school. It's just see another school, which the one I opened for, I'm not exactly clear. And I've been pondering whether to say this or not, but I'm complicated, so I'm going to say it. At the last board meeting, there was the issue about the late payments for the schools. The charter school paying Livermore late payments, and one of the people from the charter school says, we write a check the first of the month every month, and we send it. And I remember those were the exact words. And I said, well, provide evidence. Can you provide evidence? And the answer was no, which was my first, inkling that something was wrong. And then Livermore provided copies of all the checks. And the fact the checks were not dated the first of the month. They were dated somewhere in the month, some of them really late. So I have I have issues with trust now. I mean, when I'm lied once, I really have issues. So when I'm told, you know, transportation is included, well, we may or may not do it. At this point, I do not see an MOU that I will actually believe will be fully implemented. So I will urge this board to deny this charter.
Okay, thank you. Who's next? Trustee McWilson.
So I want to be very clear about my my intentionality behind my second of that motion. You know, when I look at a school in a community where there are thriving schools, number one, and I understand this is a very passionate issue, and I understand that people have put a lot of energy, time, sweat, tears, money, and many things into the anticipated formation of a charter. But when you come before this board and there's seemingly some disregard or disrespect, I mean, and I say I want to be very clear. While my colleague was called, what are you called? Complicated. And we had. Yeah, choose your words wisely. I think that there should be some degree of respect when you come to this board, and I think that in some instances it was lacking. I mean, I think, and I'm not asking for anybody to kiss behinds here, but the reality is that you are aspiring to put a school in the community, and you have been turned down previously by the district, and previously by this board, and previously by the state, and now we have a new charter in front of us, and I choose not to dwell on the old charter. When you have a new charter in front of us, some of the same questions arise. And my problem is that you've had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to get it right, and opportunities to address the concerns of this board, and opportunities to address the concerns of the district, and opportunities to bring and present us more evidence, and opportunities to bring families out here, and that has not happened. And so I refuse to support a charter that comes half-baked. That's not, it doesn't, in my opinion, did not come with everything together in an effort to get approved at the county when you've been turned down. Because we take our job very seriously here when we consider overturning, number one, the recommendation of the local district, but then also potentially our staff. And so I would expect nothing but the best to come before us, especially when you've been before this body before. And I don't believe that, from my perspective, I don't believe I received the best coming from TVLC. So that's why I want to be supporting this. Period. If it came and if it was right, and I got that feeling in my gut, and I read, and questions were answered, and there. But it wasn't. And this is a very difficult thing that we have to do here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Trustee McDonald?
I've been thinking about this a lot. Speaking with trustees from Livermore, whom I respect and have known for years. Also parents, and tonight seeing Dr. Treadway here. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Dr. Treadway, but he, like our own superintendent, didn't just make a mark where he was. He left a footprint of caring about kids and education. And I don't think there's anyone that I know other than our superintendent and Dr. Treadway that have really cared about all kids. So when Dr. Treadway comes forward and says, I have my own grandchild there because I feel that it provides exactly the balance they need, I'm impressed with that. But I feel there's a real arrogance on the side of the petitioner. The way we've been spoken to, the information we've been given, I don't think has always been correct. Whenever there's something that's come to us from the district where they've just mentioned one thing, it comes back as kind of in an arrogant manner. So I'm not going to support the charter, but I do understand that there are parents and grandparents that want it for their children and that feel that it's necessary, but I don't feel that it totally answers the needs of the community that it serves.
Thank you. Trustee Barrick.
Well, unlike my complicated and straightforward colleagues, it's a much more complex and difficult decision for me, and I think made particularly complex by the fact that I have a child that's about to enter high school, and having visited Livermore Valley, it's a school that if I lived in that area, I would consider. So, and always first and foremost is going to come parent choice for me. It's going to trump the interests of the district. It's going to trump the interests of the charter. It's going to trump everything. And that makes this decision very complicated. Even more complicated is having visited the district schools, I would have put my daughter in them too. And I think that's what you've got here. I think you've got a situation where community members have good choices, and that there probably will not be a critical mass to make sure, to be absolutely clear, that the new school will be successful and draw from the community. And I, in my last discussion with you all, said that the thing that persuaded me the most was I needed to see community interest, not just from existing families, and I hear the commitment that you all bring, and it's admirable, but I needed to see a critical mass of families that would make sure that the school was going to be successful. And charter after charter comes to us with families filling a room that are committed to going to the new school. And while we've seen some petitions, we haven't seen that. I'm afraid that we will split the baby and have 2 unsuccessful schools. So with a great deal of reluctance, because I admire what you've done, and I admire the fact that the district and the charter have forged a relationship going forward to support the existing schools, I can't support this one as much as I would like to. So I'll be voting against it.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Knowles. Mr. Sims.
I have no comments at this time, other than the fact that I have to agree with the board so far with their decision that they've made, and I will be voting along with the majority of board members, I believe, which is probably a no.
Thank you. Ms. Knowles.
My comments are very brief. Based on the information that was presented by staff's thorough data collection and so based on the information presented, I am not in support of the charter.
Thank you. Okay, my turn. Basically, I'm very, as always, impressed with my board. I get to call it my board this year. And I think the comments that you've all made are right on, and the questions that you've asked. As usual, you've done your homework, and you've gone out and seen and talked and done your due diligence. As have I. I appreciated the charter petitioners appealed towards the arts integration, since they know that that's something that's very important to me. And I did see evidence, strong evidence in the charter's, Livermore charter of that, and I appreciate that. However, I think that I'm definitely going to vote against the charter appeal because, as Trustee McWilson said, there were too many opportunities for you to do something different, something dramatically different that would change what we thought of TVLC, and that never appeared to us, and so that was really disappointing. And it's also frustrating for us because a lot of work has gone into reviewing this appeal, and from board members and from staff, and we just saw it 6 months ago, and it's frustrating. So we were disappointed in that. Also, I'm really disappointed in, I don't see the grassroots effort coming from the Portola area. Usually when we have charter schools that are very popular and that we feel compelled to approve, and we write very long MOUs to make sure that communities do have choice, when we do see evidence of a strong grassroots effort, we'll bend over backwards. This board has bent over backwards to accommodate that. But we're not seeing that in that particular area, especially since there was also issues of who actually signed the lists, and who was interested in the charter schools, seemed very sketchy about how those were gotten, those signatures were gotten. The data quest facts, I think the gal that talked about that was right on. It's easy to look up the data. Anyone can do it. And if you look at the kids who are on free and reduced lunches, or the kids who are of color, and how they're doing in the Livermore Charter School, it's not impressive. So that's concerning to me. We do believe in choice. This board is not against charter schools. We want to see choice. But we feel like Livermore has a lot of choice within the district, and also does have a charter school. I was not when the Livermore Charter School first came out, what was it, 10 years ago? How long ago was that? 9 years ago? It came about, not so much, it was a grassroots effort, but it was because Livermore School District was going under some very difficult changes, and I felt like there was a movement for people who had a lot more resources, or who were predominantly Caucasian, to be able to make their own place. And it disturbed me then, and it still disturbs me. Even though I think it's a great school, it's not reflective of Livermore Valley, and that's not how it's supposed to work. If you have a charter school, it's supposed to be reflective of the community, and in Livermore Tri-Valley, Livermore Charter School is not. And so I'm still, that weighs heavily on my mind all the time. So I will not be voting to approve this petition. Okay, so we do have a motion. And he called for the question. Or you called for the question?
Trustee Barrett called for it before me.
Okay.
And the motion is to deny. So if you want to deny, it's a yes.
So
Roll call.
It's like roll call, Madam? Okay, so, as just stated, this is to support the motion to deny or oppose. So a yes is to oppose.
Right.
That's very...
I'm sorry.
That's,
A yes vote is to deny.
To deny the charter.
Yes, the application. or charter? Okay. On the roll call, Trustee McDonald.
Yes.
Trustee Sims.
Yes.
Trustee Knowles.
Yes.
Trustee McWilson.
Yes.
Trustee Barrick.
Yes.
Vice President Rivera.
Yes.
And President Serrato.
Yes.
You have a unanimous vote.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. And I wish you luck. How's it possible to have 3 charter schools in one day? I change persons in life. I don't think I brought that back. Do you have them? Oh, I do have it. Yeah. You got them? Board members, are you okay? Do you need a break? 2-minute break? No?
2-minute break becomes 10. 10 minutes.
10 minutes. All right, item number 6, the Yuming Charter.
Okay, well, if